With Johnny Hayes. Welcome to our World Sports coverage of the 32nd Goodies 300 here on Prime Network. We have great racing weather and over 150,000 fans on hand. John, I think Darrell Waltrip said it best. The top Winston Cup drivers against the best of the Busch Grand National Series should make this the best race of Speed Weeks.
Well, Darrell Waltrip should certainly know because he's won this thing 5 times. I love this race. It's rich people against poor people. On the front row, we have 2 very wealthy people. We have Darrell Waltrip and Dale Earnhardt. They have factories behind them, research and development, big-time Winston Cup pit crews. Right behind them, we have 2 kids, Bobby Labonte and Tom Peck, who have never raced in this race. They don't have big money behind them, but they're here to race with these people, and it's going to be fun.
We'll have 43 drivers in the field. We expect lots of action along the pit lane, and we've got a great depth of experience to cover it for you. Beginning with a man who will run the Daytona 500 tomorrow for the legendary Wood Brothers, here's Neil Bonnet.
Well, I don't have to repeat for you again, this is the biggest race of the year for the Busch Grand National drivers. These guys are going to put their best equipment forward and the best effort they have. We got a couple of strangers up here on the front row, some guys trying to break into Busch Grand National Racing. I've seen them before. They're trying to put their best foot forward, which happens to be the right foot. Let's meet these guys with Steve Burns.
Thank you, Neil. It took Darrell Waltrip 17 years to win his very first Daytona 500, but he's won this race 5 times. And, Darrell, you think you've got the horsepower, renewed horsepower to do it again?
Yeah, we're running really good. We did have a problem, though. We did have to change motors this morning. We found a problem with the other engine, and we decided rather than jeopardize it, we want to get it out and put this engine in. This is one that we run some last year. It's not up quite as good on power, but it's probably still going to run awful well.
And he'll be around at the end, we're sure. Now, one black car here on the front row, and there's another one. A man who's never won the Daytona 500, but has won 2 races here in the Busch Grand National Division. Dale Earnhardt. Dale, your prospects this afternoon.
Don't go to the front. We're already there. I don't know. We're going to run pretty good. Our car's working good, and I hope Darrell and I can hook up a couple of these guys up front and just stay in a draft and go on.
We'll go now to Neil, who's with one of those kids on row 2.
Yes, I'm back here with Bobby Labonte, and he's put out quite an effort, him and his crew they've got here in the second row. Bobby, you got these big guys setting up front, but you got a good race car, and I know you got a lot of desire. Jump on these guys, see what we can do.
Well, that's right. You know, the Penrose Firecracker Oldsville is running pretty good in practice. You know, maybe we could just hang on.
On these guys at the end of the race. Have a good day. Thank you.
And thank you, Neil. Youngsters on the second row, old hands up front. It should be a great race, and we hope you'll be with us. We'll be back to introduce the entire 43-car field and turn them loose when we return to the Goodies 300 on Prime Network. With you here on Prime Network. We'll take a look now at the way this 43-car field will line up for today's Goodies 300. First time in the 300, Darrell Waltrip out of Franklin, Tennessee, a 5-time winner of the event. 2 more victories will be at his elbow in the person of the Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt. Inside row 2, the sensation of qualifying, rookie Bobby Labonte out of Corpus Christi, Texas. Next to him, Tom Peck, 10th in series points last year, looking for his first win. Inside row 3 will be Brad Teague, a series veteran out of Johnson City, Tennessee, making his 11th start. Next to him, Jimmy Hensley, his 6th run. 6th is the best he's ever done here. Inside row 4, the 48-year-old grandfather from Wisconsin, Dick Trickle, and the only Pontiac in the top 10. Next to him, short track veteran Steve Grissom out of Gadsden, Alabama. Inside row 5, modified star Frank Fleming out of Mount Airy, North Carolina, another series rookie. Next to him, stock car veteran Greg Sachs, who's been spending part of his week in Daytona as a stand-in for movie star Tom Cruise. On row 6, we'll have Harry Gant out of Taylorsville, North Carolina. Sterling Marlin next to him in an Oldsmobile. Row 7 will be Dale Jarrett and Mike McLaughlin, another modified regular. Row 8, Chuck Bound from Portland, Oregon, next to 2-time series champion Tommy Ellis. Row 9 will be Don Jenkins out of Antioch, Tennessee, next to Kenny Wallace, younger brother of the Winston Cup champion Rusty Wallace. Row 10 will be Tommy Houston, who came so close to this championship last year. Ken Schrader will be next to him. Row 11 will be Ed Barrier and Jack Ingram, the 5 5-time Busch Grand National champion. Row 12, Kyle Petty and Kelly Moore. On row 13, L.D. Ottinger, once a series champ. Jack Sprague will be at his right elbow. Bobby Hamilton and Dave Rezendes will be in row 14. Row 15, Jeff Purvis, a dirt track specialist from Tennessee, next to Dana Patton from New Hampshire. Row 16, Rick Mast and Jeff Burton. Row 17, Ronald Cooper, and the only Ford in this race next to Hut Strickland. Ernie Irvin and Joe Nemechek will be on row 18. Michael Waltrip and Robert Presley, row 19. Row 20 will be Elton Sawyer from Chesapeake, Virginia, and Pennsylvania's Davey Johnson. Row 21, Kirk Bryant from Thomasville, North Carolina, next to Bobby Allison's youngest boy, Clifford. And in row 22, by himself, Jeff McClure. 44, the customary number of starters, but Morgan Shepherd crashed in a practice accident late yesterday afternoon. He is out of the race, Johnny.
Well, it's tough luck for Morgan, but we've got 43 real good cars getting ready to go. I think one of the things you want to watch on the start, will Waltrip and Earnhardt race each other door to door? Will they try to jump right in line? Terry Labonte's instructed his brother Bobby, stay behind Darrell. Do what Darrell does. So he's got the luck of an experienced brother to tell him how to run this race and say, get in line and let's just stay there. And I think everybody better try to do that.
Shut off the phone, close the door, turn up the volume. This is going to be a great race from Daytona. The pace car is off. 17, Darrell Waltrip. Number 3, Dale Earnhardt. 2 black V6 Chevys on the front row. The green flag waves. We're underway. Earnhardt sticks the nose out in front of Waltrip as they head down into turn 1. Waltrip tucks in behind the black number 3 of Earnhardt. Behind him, Labonte and Peck. The leaders will go nose to tail. Behind them, they're going too wide. And, Johnny, that could be bad news for the guys in the third row.
This is where you get the Indy experience. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars, and 6 cars hooked up together going to run much faster than 2 cars. So they're going to just get blown by, so they got to get back in that line.
First time down the long backstretch. Now Earnhardt has Waltrip out his left side window. Right behind him, number 25 is Jimmy Hensley, who's a series veteran.
And there goes Johnny Hayes, your expert commentator, because everybody on the racetrack is running 2 wide and 3 wide. So here they come, 3 wide, right at the start-finish line. Dale Jarrett, no, who is that?
That is 25, Jimmy Hensley out of Ridgeway, Virginia. They are going to stay door-to-door. No drafting in the early going here at Daytona. Quickly, a pack of about 15 cars opened up. Neil Bonnet down at pit road. Are you surprised?
Well, I tell you, the guys are going after it awful hard. The biggest victory for Waltrip is over. The car made the first lap without problem. He's the last man on the line.
Quickly, number 31, Steve Grissom out of Gadsden, Alabama. A real short track regular. Tucks in right behind the 25 of Jimmy Hensley.
Jimmy Hensley, again, that's that Don Beverly, John Dodson car, the fast fair car. There's a lot of drag racing technology in that car, and that seems to be helping, not only in this racing, but also Winston Cup racing. But you better hook it up, buddy, because there's a big black machine coming at him.
Dale Earnhardt is right behind, but they are 3 wide as they come through the tri-oval on the front side.
Bobby Labonte is taking them 3 wide. Is this the last lap? Excuse me, folks. This thing goes 300 miles. What are we doing out here?
Beginning lap number 3, we've got 117 to go, and there is your leader, Jimmy Hensley.
I'm telling you, these guys are awesome. It's unreal. We've got cars 3 wide, 2 wide. They're really coming.
Now, quickly, we've got a little bit of a breakaway here as the number 3, Dale Earnhardt, pulls right up behind Jimmy Hensley's 25. There you see the pack on the banking, but we've got 2. Now maybe make that a 3-car breakaway up front.
Jimmy Hensley is one of the great sportsman drivers. He's been in the business a long time. He could almost play on the golf senior circuit tour. He knows how to get around here. But look at Bobby Labonte, hooked right back in there behind Dale Earnhardt. What a great jump for this young whiz kid.
It is Hensley, Earnhardt, and Labonte in a 3-car breakaway. 25, 3, and 44, making about a 5-car gap back to the 4th place car of Steve Grissom, Sterling Marlin, Darrell Waltrip, and Greg Six all follow. Note that strange engine sound from the V6 engines. They're used to the thunder of V8s here at Daytona. But this series is all V6s at this point, and they have a very distinctive song.
Well, yeah, Richard Petty said he hoped that they'd never run V6s because he would miss the noise of the V8. Of course, Richard doesn't hear that well anyway, so he loves the V8 sound.
Jimmy Hensley up front, is in his 7th start in the Goody's 300. We asked Jimmy before the race, how have things been going for you here at Daytona?
We found Oldsmobile for Crown Petroleum, and, you know, right now we're running real good. And, you know, Daytona, I hadn't raced a lot at Daytona, you know, since 85 I've been coming down here. But we're feeling more comfortable with it, and hopefully, you know, we can run good Saturday in the race.
Steve Burns is standing by right now in Jimmy Hensley's pit.
His crew chief is Bobby King. Bobby, was this your strategy to jump out front?
Yeah, the safest place to be up front, I think, and we're doing a very good job right now.
Has Jimmy said how the car's handling?
Handling real well right now. Too soon to tell right now.
Bobby King speaking for Jimmy Hensley, our leader. We have a 3-car breakaway up front. It is Hensley, Earnhardt, and series rookie Bobby Labonte on point here at Daytona. A look at the pack further back. We're going to take a quick timeout and return to the Goody's 300. Hensley, your leader at Daytona. Stay with us. Waltrip has been a factor in the last 7 runnings of the Goody's 300. He's got 3 victories, he's got a 2nd place, and 3 third places in the last 7 years.
You never know about Darrell Waltrip, his strategy. He loves to get about half a lap down and let everybody forget it, get to the last caution. Here he comes and wins the race. You never know if it's strategy or an engine problem with Darrell. He's too intelligent. He keeps us all confused.
There are your leaders, Jimmy Hensley, something of a surprise at this point. He's got Dale Earnhardt behind him. Speaking of motors, the engine in the number 3 car is built by his Winston Cup car owner, Richard Childress. Right now, they are lapping well ahead of this field. They are moving out more than 300 yards. I would now make the gap. Hensley, Earnhardt, and Labonte.
Well, I think the story has to be as early as Bobby Labonte, folks. This is the first time he's ever run here. Earnhardt makes his move under Hensley.
And Dale Earnhardt in the black number 3 on the long straightaway, shoots out underneath, gives a wide berth to Jimmy Hensley. Looks like Bobby Labonte's going to go with him, and that is so important drafting on this racetrack, Johnny.
Well, yeah, if you can get 2 cars to go, see the car push up high, but if 2 cars are together, the 2 cars will run faster than 1. But with the new design of cars, it's breaking air up a lot more, so it's not easy to draft like it used to be.
Dale Earnhardt is now your leader. One of the drivers said earlier in practice, it's not important who's in front of you. What's more important is who's behind you and whether he'll hook up with you and allow the 2 cars to run faster as a unit than 1 car can by itself.
Well, you notice on the screen, Bobby Labonte has lost the draft a little bit. He has to really pedal as hard as possible because he gets back just a little bit more. He would lose the draft, which is pulling him along, and then the other group would run him down. You go back real fast if you're running by yourself.
Dale Earnhardt with Jimmy Hensley right there. Good opportunity for Hensley to hook up with Earnhardt and pull away from young Bobby Labonte as well as the rest of the pack.
You know, the Jimmy Hensley car is flying, and Jimmy Hensley's an excellent race car driver. I heard this morning that that was the car that Robbie Moroso drove last year, that they bought some cars and motors. Maybe we could find out from the pits because Robbie Moroso sure dazzled them here in the past.
Young Robbie Moroso, the series champion at 21 years of age, not in the race today. He's concentrating on a Winston Cup effort, and you saw the interval back to the pack. Now at the front of that pack, I think we see Handsome Harry again moving up a little bit, but everybody is scattered around the racetrack. Look at the cars running side by side. The 44 is Bobby Labonte. Now, we talked with Labonte about being a rookie in this race, and we asked him, what are your expectations for the event?
I'm a rookie, got the yellow stripe, start behind 2 veterans that probably got more laps here than I've ever got. You know, if I can hang on to those guys, if they'll let me, if I can do it, you know, I'd like to learn from them for 300 miles. It wouldn't bother me none.
A regular short track winner up in North Carolina. His team is run by his father, Bobby.
and his big brother Terry is spotting for him, so you know that certainly helps, and you know, he's just in a perfect situation to become a good race car driver.
Well, he may be in a good situation there, but he's kind of hung out to dry right now. There's your leader, number 3, Dale Earnhardt. Jimmy Hensley in 25 right behind him. And Bobby Labonte has now dropped a solid 10 car lengths back. So the breakaway is now 2. The Chevrolet of Dale Earnhardt and Jimmy Hensley, number 25, in an Oldsmobile. Olds and Buick seem to be the cars of choice here. Between them, they've got 26 cars in this 43-car field to go with 8 Chevys, 8 Pontiacs, and 1 lone Ford. And that is going to be the subject of some discussion, I would guess. Oh, trouble. I saw Waltrip 17 go out of the picture, but it looks like 22, Rick Mast involved in it. 99 in your foreground is Tommy Ellis, the 2-time series champ. We've got cars all over the racetrack.
Totally blocked down there. Everybody needs to stay high on the racetrack. This is where you need a spotter.
Serious accident down in turn number 4.
I don't think the licks were as hard as we had the other day. I feel people are pulling off now, because most of the people were on the brakes when they were getting into that. The drivers just had nowhere to go. We see Jack Ingram in the number 11 Skoll car.
The number 30 is Mike Waltrip. Number 42 is Kyle Petty.
I think I see Kenny Wallace's car, Cox Wood Preservative.
31, Steve Grissom. Let's take another look at it and see if we can see how it got started. Watch the left side of your screen. 2 cars getting together, and then one gets sideways.
Looked like that was the Dale Jarrett car.
Brad Teague, I believe, the number 75, the black and orange car right at the middle of your screen, and he really...
Look how that racetrack is blocked. There's nowhere to go. Driving has nothing to do with it here. You're flying. There's just nowhere to go. Everything washes down, but people now have locked it up to try to miss the wreck, and you're just in jail. There goes Tommy Houston spinning down. There's
the number 17, Darrell Waltrip, pulling out. 5 times the winner of this event, but it looks like he will not have a shot at it today. I thought he got out of it. There you see Jack Ingram, the Iron Man, 53 years of age, older than Richard Petty.
Boy, what a way to start the year.
Neil Bonnet has caught up with Darrell Waltrip now.
Darrell, I know when you had to change motors, that put you back in a position you really didn't want to be in, and this is what always seems to happen. I know it happened, but nothing you could do.
Yeah. Well, I was sitting there thinking, you know, I don't like where I am, but if you go back, you get in more trouble. I don't know how I could get in anymore, but somehow or another, I thought this might happen, Neil. I just didn't have a good feeling about the race.
Well, you don't have to tell me you're not where you want to be. I knew where you wanted to be was up front, and the motor change going to put you behind.
Yeah, well, I did. Thank you very much. We'll be better next time.
Darrell Waltrip out of it. There is Kyle Petty. 13 cars involved in that wreck altogether. That is a big one. That's Tommy Ellis next to him. What do you say, I wonder, when you walk up to another guy after a shemazel like that?
Well, I saw Mike. What happens is 2 cars to get together, and because of the speeds, it just took out 13 race cars. Nobody had anywhere to go. It shoots up the racetrack. There's a real hard lick. You can see the 42 car has the rear end almost knocked off of it.
And a lot of the top runners, Kenny Wallace, Tommy Ellis, Kyle Petty, 13 cars in total. We're going to step away for just a moment. We'll be back to sort it out when we return to Daytona. Well, we've all just taken a deep breath here at Daytona after an enormous accident in the treacherous 4th turn of the 2.5-mile speedway. Let's take a look at the leaderboard right now. Dale Earnhardt, who made the pass just before that crash, has got Jimmy Hensley behind him, Bobby Labonte, the 3 cars that broke away early. Harry Gant now moves up into the 4th spot, followed by Sterling Marlin. Now we'll take another look at what just happened. It looked like a couple of cars were running up front, and the 75 machine of Brad Teague to the left of your screen doing battle with the 32 car of Dale Jarrett. Watch the black and orange car. There is contact, and then Teague gets a little
I'm not sure there was contact. It may be, but it looked like Brad just got loose, and then maybe the air got off of his spoiler, but he goes right back in front. Watch it go up the track, entirely block the racetrack, and where can you go? I mean, everybody's going close to 195 miles an hour or so, and there's just nowhere to go.
Pick your favorite. There's a lot of them in there in this 13-car wreck. Darrell Waltrip, after he got clipped, he got together with Kenny Schrader. In this mess, Tommy Ellis, Kyle Petty, Rick Mast, Michael Waltrip, Jack Ingram, many of the top stars of this race. Jeff Purvis in there, Chuck Bound, Frank Fleming, who was making his first start in this race. Dave Rezendes in there as well. A big schmozzle. This one is certainly going to take some time to clean up. I see Tommy Houston's car in there as well, the number 6. Houston, who got so close to his first championship in this series last year before he had a couple of breakdowns in 2 out of the last 3 races and was eked out by Rob Moroso. There you see the number 31 on the flatbed, Steve Grissom, who had such great hopes for this race. Let's go down to pit side now and Neil Bonnet.
You were down here with Rick Mast, and the worst thing that could happen on one of these big tracks is a big clogged-up racetrack. What happened out there, Rick?
Neil, I had just caught this long, big pack of cars. I just fell in the back of them. You know, we started so far back, we came up through the field. I felt good. The Ravenbush Buick was just going flawlessly. I got to this pack, and I said, what am I going to do? Am I going to sit here and ride or try to get through it? So I was going to try to get through it. About that time, a black car up front, I'm not sure if it was LD Darrell or Brad Tigg, one of the cars turned sideways. What precipitated it, I don't know. And when that started, there's just no hope for anybody. It's all in God's hands. I hope everybody's okay.
That's great. Are you going to be able to get back in and all out of it?
No way.
Well, it's a good thing you're in good shape. Good to see you.
Thank you.
We should report that
Steve Burns now.
Neil, I'm with Rusty Wallace, Winston Cup champion. Rusty owns Kenny Wallace's car. Rusty, what sort of damage report has Kenny given you?
They just called in and said that the front end's messed up pretty good and the electric quarter panel's bashed up pretty good. So we're going to come in, put a new rear end in it, try to clean it up, get it fixed up so we'll go back with some points.
Rusty, does Kenny think he can drive it?
What'd you say?
Does Kenny think he can still drive it?
He thinks he can still drive it. You know, he's not talking. Red Dog, the spotter on top of the truck's telling me everything that's going on right now. The biggest thing is get the car positioned in here so we can work on it. That's what they're trying to get done right now.
Thank you, Rusty.
Now keep in mind that this is a race within a race. In addition to all the Winston Cup drivers in this field, the Busch Grand National guys have a 31 race schedule ahead of them. This is just the beginning, and they are racing against each other for those precious series points.
Sure, and they have to fix that car if they can, because there's probably 9 of those cars are terminal. So if you could get out and just run 2 more laps, you could beat 9 cars and pick up all those positions for points.
$426,000 plus at stake. The field has been sadly reduced, but there is plenty of action still to come. A great race, the Goody's 300, and we'll be back to pick up the action when the track is cleared after this. Stay with us. The signal, 1 lap to go under caution, and then we get the green again at Daytona. Given from the flag stand, 25 cars by my unofficial count still circulating. We've had a lot of activity in the pits as cars in various states of disrepair pull in after a tremendous accident that has taken some 13 cars out of this 32nd running of the Goody's 300. Earnhardt is the leader as the pace car leads the field around single file. They'll get the green this time. A tremendous accident on lap 14 took out more than a dozen cars. Let's get caught up on the activity in the garage now with Neil Bonnet.
We're here with Rusty Wallace, and they told me to ask you how it feels to be a car owner right now.
I'm going to tell you, I'm not having any fun at it right now. My pocketbook's getting thinner. I'm glad I won the championship last year to afford this thing.
I'll tell you what, sometimes you let your little brother borrow your car, it gets in rough shape.
Yeah, really, especially when he takes that for his first date. But anyway, he's not hurt. Everything's cool, and they're going to try to get the thing fixed and get back in so we get some points. It looks like the whole doggone Busch Grand National Field, all the guys he runs against are sitting in the garage area. So if we get it back together a little bit, we might be able to salvage some points out of this deal.
If anybody knows about points, it's Rusty. He worked on them last year.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And won the Winston Cup Championship by about 26, as I recall, Johnny.
And that's the key point. All the main people they're going to run against for that championship, most of them are sitting in there with him, so anything they can do to get out. We're getting ready to go back green.
The red pace car pulls off. Dale Earnhardt leads the Indian file of the remaining contenders in this Goody's 300. We told you it'd be full of action, folks, and we have definitely had that. The green flag waves once again, and the number 3 of Dale Earnhardt leads Jimmy Hensley and Harry Gant across the line. Immediately, cars go 2 and 3 wide. But a breakaway up front, the 3-car of Earnhardt and the 25 of Hensley open up a quick 6-car gap. They really seem to have the horses today.
Yeah, and they're also, I think they probably talked or agreed some way or smart enough to say, hey, let's stay right together, let's hook up, let's run away and try to do it. But the problem is that they're going to have about 10 or 15 cars that are going to hook up the same way. A pack led by Harry Gant's going to try real hard to run them down. But it's smart
Every man in this field will be taking a good, close look at this area right here where we just had that huge wreck. Dale Earnhardt won this race in 1982. He won it again in 1986. That 4-year gap brings us right up to 1990, so at least the numbers are in his favor. Jimmy Hensley, the car, red, white, and blue behind him. You see him getting a little bit skittish in the draft. The flow there around the number 3 car. He wants to get right up close so that he runs through the hole punched in the air by the number 3 car, let it close in behind him, and that's called drafting, the aerodynamic phenomenon that lets them go faster as a 2-car train that any 1 car can alone.
And a lot of people don't understand about drafting. Jimmy Hensley can be running his car half throttle and Dale Earnhardt pulling it along. Therefore, he will get a lot better gas mileage than Dale Earnhardt. So there's a lot of strategy in drafting also, and you may not always want to lead that draft.
After the start line shuffle, Earnhardt and Hensley lead, followed by Harry Gant, Dale Jarrett, Greg Sachs, Sterling Marlin, Dick Trickle, and Ernie Irvan. Behind them, you see the cars going too wide again. We'll have some position changes. We'll bring those to you as soon as we can. But right now, it is all Dale Earnhardt. There you see the young man from Kannapolis, North Carolina, the Intimidator, they call him. And that is Jimmy Hensley, who has never won this race.
Jimmy Hensley in the number 25 car, the blue car right behind Dale Earnhardt, has been a great racer. You can see by looking at his picture, Jimmy's not a high school boy. He's been through this a long time. He's a very intelligent race car driver, one of the best liked people on pit road, one of the most respected. He's going to hook up there, and these Winston Cup guys are coming behind him. They'll hook up. We're going to have some good, hard, clean racing now.
There are your leaders. You can see the gap behind them to the pack of 4. Earnhardt and Hensley up front. Earnhardt likes to lead lots of laps. I think he led the most, well, perhaps second to Rusty Wallace in last year's Winston Cup Series. He likes to be up front where the air is clean and he can stay out of trouble. They call him the Intimidator. They say he's brash and arrogant and aggressive, and he'll push you around the racetrack. I don't think he really wants to push you around unless he has to, but he's not afraid to when he does.
Well, he's never backed down from a fight, I will say that. But he's a race car driver, I mean, I think you see that black car, it does intimidate you a little bit, and he plays off of that. But certainly there's a lot of people out there that he cannot intimidate, and he certainly don't try with the people he knows he won't work with.
Speaking of one of those folks, he's leading that second pack of 4, Harry Gant, with Dale Jarrett, Greg Sachs, and Sterling Marlin right behind him. 112 miles an hour, the average speed to this point, because of the lengthy caution period. That is well under the record of 162.6 miles an hour set back in 1978 by Darrell Waltrip. Here is the battle for third. Gant to the left of your screen, followed by Dale Jarrett, Greg Sachs, Sterling Marlin. As we looked at the 46 car there of Greg Sachs, you can see the windshield kind of flopping in the wind. There are tremendous forces on these cars.
Let's talk about these cars for a second. Harry Gant's car is owned by Ed Whitaker. 2 years ago, they won 5 races. They dominated this series, even though they ran a limited schedule. Then we come back with Dale Jarrett in the 32 blue and white car right behind him. He's a Winston Cup driver, a lot of experience. He doesn't have a Winston Cup ride this year, and he's trying to show a lot of people in Daytona, you need to put me in a big-time car. Greg Sachs, same situation. He's in one of Robert G's cars, the green and yellow car. And Robert G has one of the finest race cars in America, best motor program, Rick Hendrick's car, movie. I think it's Tom Cruise is not driving it. It is Greg Sachs, but Tom Cruise is double in the movies.
We're back up to the front once again. Earnhardt in number 3. The 25 is Jim Hensley. Let's get a quick word from Neil Bonnet.
Well, there's no doubt there's a big race on the racetrack, but this is the biggest scramble I've ever seen in the garage in quite a while. These guys have got to race just to get these race cars back together. If a man can get one of these things rolling again, he's talking about finishing in the top 20 in points. There's a lot of races. That's a big game for him. So these things are beat all to pieces, but you're going to see some of them rolling again in a little bit.
Well, to reiterate what Johnny Hayes said earlier, if you can get out and just make one lap, you've already beaten all the guys who stayed in the garage.
You couldn't tell clearly by that picture, but that was Tommy Ellis in the Goo Goo Clusters uniform with a hammer in his hand, and I'm sure he's mad enough that he could beat that car real well. So he's going to work real hard. We have the Kenny Wallace car coming slowly down pit road, going behind the wall. I think he's calling it a day.
Tough break for a man who sat on the pole for this race in his first appearance last year. Well, you better believe that got everybody's attention. Now look at the way the gap is closed up. Harry Gant with the rest of the crowd behind him. So at the front end of the car, yeah, there's the engine. It looks like the whole sub-assembly there that holds the radiator, the oil coolers, and so forth, is going to have to come away. And it's not unusual to see drivers in the Grand National Series putting on the gloves and working on their own race cars. A lot of them help build their own cars.
You see these guys here, right here, pulling this oil cooler off. This little V6 engine will not run without that cooler. They're going to have to stick another one on there, and it's hard to imagine that this wadded-up mess here can get out there and run 150 or 60 miles an hour. They're going to get it straightened out, but it's not going to look like when it started, but it'll run.
And that's all they need. With about 25 laps on the book right now, he only needs to go out there and run about 100 laps at whatever speed he can do in order to get those points. Going back to the accident for a second, we have one update on a possible injury. Ron Cooper has a possible concussion, the medics say, and a chin fracture. They've taken him over to Halifax Medical Center for some x-rays. But to the best of our knowledge, Ron Cooper, the only driver injured in any way in that tremendous wreck.
That breaks my heart for Ron Cooper because he's a kid who went out, spent the big money. They hired Billy Woodruff, who was the Winston Cup crew chief, come down, put their program together, bought all the equipment, and really going for it. And have this kind of break and this kind of start at the first of the year because there's a kid that's committed, he's sharp, he'll be a big-time Winston Cup driver someday, and I hope he's not hurt so we can see him in Richmond, Virginia next week.
6 cars now make up the lead draft in the Goody's 300. The number 3 is Dale Earnhardt, followed by Jimmy Hensley, who led most of the early laps. Behind them, the number 7 of Harry Gant, Dale Jarrett, Greg Sachs, Sterling Marlin, all in that battle. The 7 is Harry Gant, 32 is Dale Jarrett, who almost won this race last year, but he and Rusty Wallace had a certain coming together. The next thing Dale knew, he was in a heat at the base of turn 4. Plenty of action still to come your way in the 32nd running of the Goody's 300 on Prime Network. Stay with us. Through turns 3 and on to turn 4, the infamous tunnel turn at Daytona International Raceway. You're watching the top 6 runners in the Goody's 300 here on Prime Network. Bob Barsha, Johnny Hayes, Steve Burns, and Neil Bonnet with you. The number 3 car is Dale Earnhardt, who has taken over the lead just before a tremendous accident wiped out a baker's dozen of cars. Behind him is now Dale Jarrett, I believe, has now made his way into second place. Behind him, Jimmy Hensley, who led early on. Greg Sachs after him. Harry Gant has faded from 3rd position back to 5th. And running in 6th position is Sterling Marlin. Down the long back straightaway they come and into turn 3. Meanwhile, there is another race going on after that huge crash we had. And as you watch Greg Sachs going underneath Jimmy Hensley for the 3rd spot, let's go quickly down to the garage and hear from Neil Bonnet.
Well, this is not the same car. This is Rick Nash. We've got a bunch of them that look like this down here. I'll be the first one to tell you there's nothing that feels any better than one of these well-prepared race cars running 170 miles an hour.
Excuse me, we've got a spin out on the straightaway, Neil. It looks like the number 74 car of Kelly Moore out of New England from Scarborough, Maine, runs the Northern Busch Grand National Tour. Looks like he's got that Chevy just kind of looped sideways on the backstretch. Big cloud of blue tire smoke still on the racetrack.
Caution is out.
And he's going to limp it around. We'll wave the yellow flag in the meantime and bring the field behind the pace car. Kelly Moore basically looks untouched at this point. Just kind of lost it off of turn 2 and got sideways down the long back chute.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, let's go back down to Neil Bonnet.
As we were saying before, there's nothing that feels any better than one of these race cars prepared to go 170, 85, 90 miles an hour. But then when you fix one back in this condition and you tell the driver to go out there and ride around, this car is going to ride around at 150, 160 miles an hour, even under these conditions. And it puts an awful lot of faith in these mechanics' hands. The driver's got to have a lot of faith to figure they can patch this thing back together and turn him loose again.
Well, there's some backyard engineering, Johnny Hayes. Put that radiator where it was never supposed to be. Just get me back on the racetrack.
I'll tell you something's wild about this. All these people have new sponsors. All the chairmen of the boards of the major corporations are here. Everybody that's anybody's in Daytona Motor Speedway to watch your race cars. Then on the 15th lap, the whole world comes loose, and boom, you prepared all year to get to this moment. It blows up. They'll do whatever it takes to get that thing back out there. If there's any way possible, everybody in that garage is going to get back on this racetrack.
I would imagine we'll see some very different looking race cars, from the beautiful swoopy Chevys and Olds and Buicks and whatnot. They will come out looking something more like a brick, aerodynamically speaking. Let's go down to Steve Burns.
Johnny Hayes asked about Bobby Labonte's fortunes. Bobby's car is extremely loose. Now, this pit stop is going to help them immensely. They're going to come in, see if they can make some adjustments to the chassis. Now, if experience means anything, Bobby's in great shape because many of the guys in this crew are Terry Labonte's crew members. Of course, Terry, a former Winston Cup champion.
And we'll wait while Bobby Labonte makes that stop, wearing the number 44 that his brother Terry took to the Winston Cup Championship. We'll be back to get things back underway in a moment. There have been a lot of great champions of this racetrack over the years, and right now leading, as we have a plethora of pit stops, as I'm sure Johnny would say if I gave him the opportunity, young Elton Sawyer from Chesapeake, Virginia, is leading this Goody's 300. His pit stops continue, John.
Well, it was a great stop, and I can't believe they beat Dale Earnhardt out because he has his Winston Cup crew to help him also, so that was an awesome pit stop.
All right, here we are in the garage right now, and here's a perfect example of what happens in one of those wrecks. Schrader, after sitting on the pole for the Daytona 500, has had nothing but trouble the last few days. This car has minor damage, very minor damage to the body on it, but it knocked the ductwork out of it, and in turn, it burned the engine up. The heart of this race car is gone. These other ones that are beat all the pieces are still, the motors are running, they're going to be back in the race, and here's a good contender out with an engine gone.
Meanwhile, the action continues on Chuck Bound's car right there. And they've brought out the welding torches, cutting torches, I should say. They can't get the hood off without just chopping it away. They may need some more air on that car. They'll just leave that one off. Hard to describe the hours put into these race cars throughout the wintertime, or the disappointment when your car gets smashed 14 laps into the debut event of the 1990 season.
Well, it takes 6 hard weeks of work to build them, and it took 2 seconds to destroy him.
Here you see the attrition in the race thus far. Brad Teague, whose spin out basically ignited the chain reaction crash that took with it Tommy Houston, still looking for a series championship, the only man who has run every Busch Grand National race. Ed Berrier is out. Jack Ingram, the 5-time series winner. Ronald Cooper, and the only Ford in the field, and the only driver that we're aware of with any injuries. Tommy Ellis, Don Jenkins, Hut Strickland driving one of Bobby Allison's cars. Mike McLaughlin, the modified champ, whose car was totaled in a wreck yesterday in practice. His crew worked all day long to get the car back into the field, and it is now gone. Kyle Petty also out.
Yeah, the work these guys are doing on these race cars here is kind of twofold. If they loaded these things up and carried them home, they could repair them and not lose so much equipment. Right now, they're just having to chop them to pieces to get them running again. They're actually destroying the car worse than they would at home to fix it.
The pace car is now off. Elton Sawyer is the leader. One of the cars looked like the number 79 machine of Dave Resendiz chose to take the slower route for lap cars on the outside. Elton Sawyer quickly gets the brake and moves out, but 2 cars back up along the wall. The black number 3 of Dale Earnhardt. He's going to be moving up. Watch him. Harry Gann in the 7 car. Dale Earnhardt on the number 3. And it looks like Greg Sachs in front of him. Sterling Marlin in front of him. These were some of the cars involved in the train at the front before the pit stops began, so it'll be interesting to watch them scramble now.
I think you noticed they caught Earnhardt in a sandwich and pushed him back a little bit. The green car is Greg Sachs, 46 car, flying to the front. Harry Gann went on the outside, he went on the inside. I don't know if they'll hook up or if they're going to race side by side. Dale Jarrett will decide which car wins this race.
Down to the line they come, and young Elton Sawyer will lead the way. Sterling Marlin right behind him, and they go 3 wide. Somebody pitching by underneath there. The number 58 car of Ernie Irvan. Irvan, who won the last chance qualifier yesterday afternoon. 10 runners in that event moved up out of the 22 that started into the feature here today.
Trust me, Ernie Irvan can and will drive a race car, and he'll stick it in. And I'm sure Earnhardt looked up and those people said, "Oh, Lord, it's Ernie."
And Dale knows him well. I think he bankrolled some of Early's Winston Cup efforts.
Yeah, he was his car sponsor.
Sterling Marlin goes underneath the number 41 of Elton Sawyer. Right behind him, handsome Harry Gann. Looks like Dale Jarrett going to take the measure of Sawyer. Behind them, Greg Sachs, and then Dale Earnhardt. Sachs in the bright green and yellow car. He's going to go 2 wide with Jarrett. Wow.
He went off the racetrack almost. He went below the white line to take it 3 wide, and that's the kind of thing that will make Dale Jarrett say, "Okay, big guy." So all you folks, pull your chairs the TV, because this is where the action's about to happen right here. Do not go anywhere.
Great example of stock car racing, 1993 cars at 195 miles an hour on that backstretch, and they are as close together as you can get. Now they bunch up more drivers behind them. Sachs getting a little bit slow there, so it's going to be Jarrett Earnhardt. The 44 is Bobby Labonte. It looks like that pit stop did do him some good. Greg Sachs sliding back in the bright green and yellow number 46.
Well, he's hung out of the draft now. He's got 5 or 6 cars in a straight line, and they're not going to let him in. They're going to try to kick him back because they know he's one of the best cars. He has to force his way up, or he's going to get hung out. Now he has a car coming down behind him that may help.
Back into turn 1 on the 31-degree banking. The Daytona International Speedway they go. There you see the 41 of Elvis Sawyer. Cup Rookie of the Year at age 48. Said he wanted to wait until he was 50 to win it. But he got a break last year driving for Bobby Allison, or for the Savola brothers and Bobby Allison's car. Dale Jarrett charging.
I believe Dale Jarrett's just trying to send a message to everybody down that Winston Cup garage, buddy. I can drive these things, and I can't believe I got left out.
And he and the car behind him, Harry Gant, are good examples of the guys who have used the Busch Grand National Series over the years to maintain a winner's image. Go out there, get into some victory lanes in a series that in many ways is comparable to the Winston Cup Series. Make sure people get that message, the very thing you were talking about, John.
There's a good hookup. Sterling is, after that pit stop, running much better. He ran good with the lead draft anyway, but now he's up front and aggressive, and now we have good quality race cars all up front, and again, it's getting that Winston Cup look, and we need some of the poor boys to get on up there and get the Bobby Labontes in back up and give the good old people a chance.
Challenge now, Dale Jarrett takes Sterling Marlin. Looks like Dale Earnhardt's going to get a piece of that. We'll tell you how it turns out when we return to Daytona after this.
Grand National drivers, Grand National North, guys from the Midwest, everybody seems to want to come and run this race, and I guess that's what makes it a little more unique. And you don't ever assemble all of these cars at the same place the rest of the year.
18 states represented, from Florida to Maine to Oregon and California. Let's go down to the pits and Steve Burns.
Johnny Hayes said that Dale Jarrett is sending a message to the car owners in the Winston Cup garage. John Irvin is his crew chief. John, what is Dale saying?
Well, Dale says, like I say, this place owes us one. We had a good practice yesterday afternoon, and we felt real good. We've worked hard all week, and the Nestle Crush car is really performing good right now. We had a good pit stop, and if everything goes good, Steve, we can make one more stop.
Okay, Jarrett also said that this is his Daytona 500.
It is for a great many of the drivers in the Busch Grand National Series. It is Jarrett, followed now by Sterling Marlin. Number 3 is Dale Earnhardt. And look at the 44 of Bobby Labonte. After that pit stop, he's a new man.
Oh, it's great. He just put a big-time move on handsome Harry again and locked him. He was below Harry, made a move the outside. Now he's got Harry knocked out of the draft. So that's pretty good for old high school boy.
He's not the only one out of the draft. Again, you see going backwards to the right of your screen, Sterling Marlin is out of it now, unless Bobby Labonte in the red 44 hooks up with him.
Several cars are calling into NASCAR saying that the number 3 car is dumping rear end grease on their windshield, and that they're saying that Earnhardt's throwing grease. I don't know if that could be the case or not, or just trying to get him to pull in.
Keep an eye on that situation. Meanwhile, we've got draft against draft. Up high, Jarrett, Earnhardt, and the number 12 car of Jeff Burton. Down low is the 48 of Sterling Martin and the 44 of Bobby Labonte. Here they come, and they got slower traffic in front of them.
Fans were really concerned whether we'd have a good race when we took out 12 or 13 of the top race cars. You can't get any better than this. I don't care where you go. That's as good as it ever gets right there. Side by side, getting it on. Come after me, baby. It don't get no better than that.
Off the tunnel turn, down the short chute to the dog leg that makes Daytona a tri-oval. It's basically a 3-cornered racetrack. Right now, the man who has it mastered is Dale Jarrett in the number 32 car. Down low and out of the draft. Sterling could be in some trouble now in the white number 48. Up high, Bobby Labonte. He's going to want to stay right there on the 3 car's tail if he can.
You know, Bobby Labonte's brothers, Terry's calling all the shots, spotting for him, and he's telling him where to go. So he's really getting good advice, I guess, because he's not made a bad move yet. It really helps to have someone
out here. He has got to be absolutely thrilled. Bobby Labonte out of Corpus Christi, Texas.
Yeah, his car's a firecracker or something. I mean, he is hot. He is the whiz kid in this race, and I think you're going to hear a lot from that boy. And his daddy's one of the smartest guys that ever lived. You know, he's the kind of daddy that'll kick your butt, and you'll work on that car. And I think Bobby Labonte's going to pay attention because he don't want to drive in there and face his dad if he don't do good.
Well, Dad's right there calling all the shots in the pit, along with brother Terry up on top of the transporter, coaching from on high. It is Jarrett, Earnhardt, Labonte, Sterling Marlin, Dick Trickle, Jeff Burton, and Ernie Irvin. We now are being told the black flag will wave for the number 3 of Dale Earnhardt. You see him go low on the racetrack. I don't know if he knows it's coming out. He may have been told by his fifth, and he does. Dale Earnhardt peels off, and this is going to be one angry. No, he does not. He's going to take the lead, and the black flag waves. There is the number 3 on the flag stand. He's going to have to come in, and we'll cover this pit stop. This should be a beaut. Neil Bonnet is standing by as we await the black number 3 of Dale Earnhardt. Throwing grease out of the rear of the car, we are told. And right now, Dale Jarrett is right behind him in a position to pick up a lot of it.
The reason Earnhardt would stay out there as long as he could, he hopes another caution comes out for some other reason. Then he could make his pit stop under yellow. So he's going to milk this thing as long as he can until they put the gun to his head and bring him in.
How many times can he go by it before they'll bring the hammer down?
I believe he has to pit within 3 laps. He's coming in this time.
And he is coming in hot. Let's get down to Neil Bonnet in Earnhardt's pit.
Here's Earnhardt in right now. They're swarming all over this thing. They're complaining about a fuel leak. These guys are going to their normal stuff right now. They're going to stick some tires on it. We've got some people up under the car. They're spraying brake clean with their tight cleaner to clean up all those. You get on the clutch area of the car. If that's the case, it's usually coming out of the transmission or the rear main. But they got it cleaned up. Check it out.
And a smoky burnout it is. Boy, Kenny Burns.
No, but that was typical Earnhardt. They give him the black flag, so he takes the lead.
Well, he hasn't got it now. Dale Earnhardt's back on the track, and they'll be watching him.
I'd like to ask Neil Bonnet a question, and I don't really understand this, but does that fluid that they sprayed on the car stop the leak, Neil?
No, it doesn't. And right now, the NASCAR inspector has walked over and he's pointing at a pile of grease on the rear end. I mean, on the pavement down here. All they did was clean the particular area of the car off. He's indicating to him now that there's dripping coming off the car. There's a big powwow going on here. If they wave that black flag again, you're going to see some action down here.
Dale Earnhardt now back up to speed, but he is well back out of the top 8 as we presently show them. There you see Dale Jarrett, number 32. Below him, Bobby Labonte may take a shot at the lead here. Not this time around as they come down to the start-finish stripe to complete lap number 55 of a scheduled 120 here at Daytona on a beautiful day for racing. Temperature 80 degrees, no chance of rain, slightly cloudy skies. It doesn't get any better than this, as Johnny said. We talked to Bobby Labonte earlier in the weekend, and we asked him, have you planned out a strategy for this race?
I'm looking for a position to get in the line and just follow the leader all day if that's what it takes. You know, I've watched a lot of them on TV. I've been down here and watched them. You know, with the restrictor plates, that's basically what you have to do. And, you know, if I can follow whoever and just ride comfortable and stay out of trouble, then that's what we'll do.
I thought it was great earlier. We were discussing that the first time Bobby Labonte had been here and the only time was in a go-kart. And Bob told me, yeah, but the problem there is they turn left right as you go across the start-finish line. We hope you remember to stay straight. Well, he has, folks. He's staying straight.
And now we have a single file effort once again. Led by Dale Jarrett, it includes Labonte, Sterling Marlin, Dick Trickle, Harry Gant, Greg Sachs, who, as Johnny mentioned, has been doing a lot of stand-in driving this weekend. He may be the busiest driver at Daytona. Tom Cruise is here filming a movie to be called Days of Thunder that'll be in your theaters later this summer, we understand. But when they need somebody to get in and drive for Tom Cruise, Greg Sachs has been doing it.
Yeah, and
another thing, Greg Sachs is developing a close relationship with Rick Hendricks, who's in charge of this whole thing. He keeps doing this kind of job for Rick Hendricks. Rick Hendricks has nothing, but he's got a lot of problems, but money's not one of them, and he's liable to just put him in another car.
Harry Gant going backwards there in the number 7 car to the left of your screen. I think Harry's got a problem in that 7-car draft. He's the tail ender now, and everybody just drove around him.
Harry Gant's been loose, but Harry Gant has a philosophy a lot like Darrell Waltrip. He loves to be at the tail end of the lead draft, so it gives him a little more time if something happens in front of him. And I think he's in a spot he can hold. But he'd rather not be in the middle getting pushed around and your rear wheels being pulled off the track.
Okay, I was talking to Richard Childress. They've got a problem. Dale has just called in. The clutch is slipping on the car, and that's a good indication. This grease I'm looking at here is out of the front of the transmission. It's leaking on it. I was just telling Richard, we've done it before and shot a fire extinguisher up in there, and they're thinking about doing that and to clean the plates off of the clutch and keep going.
Well, that would explain that big smoky burnout when Dale was leaving the pits. He couldn't get the car in gear. He was spinning his wheels, perhaps. Transmission problems for the number 3 of Dale Earnhardt. He's had some hard luck. A year ago at this race, he never even made the first green flag. He had a huge end-over-end spinning crash on the infield during practice. Back on the lead now. They are just about to pass Earnhardt. The 32 of Dale Jarrett, followed by Bobby Labonte and the rest of that pack. They will put Earnhardt a lap down. Around the east end of this 2.5-mile racetrack. Sound. That 7-car draft with the number 7 of Harry Gant at the back contains all of the leaders.
And nobody wants to be behind Earnhardt because he's throwing fluid out and it'll get on their windshield. And boy, you can't see a lick when you pour oil or grease on your windshield, and it really hurts.
And so Dale Earnhardt fades into the background. Tough break for he, but Dale Jarrett is doing just fine up front. Speedway, it looks as though Dick Trickle, a 48-year-old grandfather of 2 from Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin, blew the right front corner on that car, the tire. Watch the car to the right of your screen, the 92 right alongside Sterling Marlin is Trickle. The rear end gets a little sideways, then they make contact. Well, perhaps he didn't blow the tire. They just got together. Marlin gets sandwiched into the wall. Yeah, tags the back of Trickle's car, and he takes a hard lick.
He flat did hit it hard.
Marlin, off to the right of your screen, is now spinning across the infield grass, while Dick Trickle got it slowed down and parked just beyond the pit exit. There you see Sterling Marlin, who was just fine after what must have been a real white-knuckle moment coming off turn 4.
It looked like Dick just came in there a little too hard, and the rear end went around on him, and the racetrack's real slick. We've talked about that earlier. The tires are hard. Trickle's out of the race car.
Dick Trickle, a man who has won more than 1,000 short track features in his career. Sort of like Pete Rose, who was in so many winning baseball games. Trickle has won more races than most guys have been in races.
Earnhardt's in right now. They're putting tires on the car, but they're going to stop and take a look and see if they can find that problem with the car right now. They're shooting some more fluid up under the bell housing. It's in that particular area. They're lucky to get the caution flag, but they're not concerned about these tires. They're going to put some oil in the car right now. They're seeing if they can find what's wrong there. Yeah, well, Burns was down here in the pits also. His concern is not if they can fix the clutch. He doesn't want this car to do something crazy and Dale get in the wall. He's got a lot riding on 500, and he's really concerned about his driver right now.
You can see the black streak up the good wrench written across the back of that Chevrolet. There is something definitely burning in the back of Dale Earnhardt's car. Let's see with that back clutch how he gets out.
The clutch is fixed.
He gets away just fine, and that explains it. Thank you, Neil. That is the 3rd caution flag, 2nd caused by a wreck. We'll give you another look at the granddaddy that really got us off to a whopping start here in the Goody's 300. Early in the race on lap 14, a tremendous crash down in turn 3. Let's review it again. Watch the left side of your screen. The black and orange car of Brad Teague gets up against the 32 of Dale Jarrett. Now, we don't know if they made contact or if Brad just gets air under the car, gets a little sideways. That's all it took. The black 17 of Darrell Waltrip, the pole sitter for this race, right behind, just catches the back of that car. He slides up into the front of Kenny Schrader, 52. Meanwhile, Teague is collecting everybody in the draft behind those cars. Subsequently, 11 cars involved. A total of 13 knocked out of the race in this one incident alone, including many of the front runners, Tommy Ellis, Jack Ingram, Kyle Petty, et al.
Well, it's amazing. Darrell caught him by an inch or so. If Darrell had been able to miss him, he would have not knocked him back up into the middle of everyone.
Now you're back catching current action. There goes the car of Dick Trickle, and we'll be back to Daytona for another green. Back at Daytona, the pace car is off. The green flag waves once again, and we are underway. Dale Jarrett on the point. Right behind him, Greg Sachs, Harry Gant, Bobby Labonte, and Ernie Irvin fill out the top 5 as the cars shuffle them up. That's Dale Jarrett out front. Behind him, the number 8 of Bobby Hamilton. I think a lot of folks figured that Hamilton, runner-up to Kenny Wallace on the Rookie of the Year points last year, would be a factor in this race. He's now a lap down. Behind him, the number 3 is Dale Earnhardt. I can't believe I said tough breaking key earlier. It has been a rough afternoon, apparently leaking something out of that Chevrolet. Earnhardt is at least 1 lap down, and Dale Jarrett, with those lap cars between him and the rest of the pack, has got room to move.
Well, Bobby Hamilton caught a break there because Earnhardt pulled right up behind him and pushed him. Now Earnhardt's going to dust him and jump right in behind Dale. But he did catch a good car so he could get right in line and get the draft, so maybe he can hold on there.
The green number 46, that is Greg Sachs. He's going to want to get around Hamilton as quickly as he can and not let Dale Jarrett get away from him. Now the draft closes up once again. Behind Sachs is Harry Gant. Behind Gant, Bobby Labonte. Onto the backstretch they come, getting up to full speed, maybe touching 200 miles an hour on the long back straight at Daytona. Darrell Waltrip led qualifying at just under 189 miles an hour.
I love the sponsorship on that car, Crunch, and Earnhardt's being right behind him. And that, for some reason, that would scare me if my sponsorship was Crunch, and that's Earnhardt's name is Crunch, and, you know, he may be offended, so I don't know, Dale. Watch out. He's liable to try to crunch you.
I talked to Dale Jarrett's crew chief, John Irvin, and asked him if he could go the rest of the way on gas. He said they had to stop one more time. I came here to Harry Gant's crew, which you're looking at. They say they can make it. It's going to be close, though.
Thank you, Steve Burns, sharing duty with Neil Bonnet down there in the pit lane in this Goody's 300. There is the 46 of Greg Sachs, movie star to be when the movie Days of Thunder premieres later this summer, starring Tom Cruise. He's been putting in a lot of miles in the car for the leading actor. Look at that hood wobble up and down in the airflow. Tremendous stresses on these cars. This is a Chevrolet Monte Carlo, winner of more Winston Cup races in the last decade than any other model.
Bobby Labonte jumping under Harry Gant. You can see Harry Gant's car is getting a little loose going up, and Bobby Labonte's been able to jump under him. But I'm telling you, Bobby Labonte and Greg Sachs have also driven flawless races, and this is really a shock. But Bobby Labonte is scaring me because he's supposed to start, okay, we've seen people flash in here and do this before, but he's hanging in there with these guys. He could win this race.
Bobby Labonte right behind Sachs, who won the Pepsi 400 here at Daytona a few years ago, surprised everybody, driving a research and development car with Gary Nelson as his crew chief. Earnhardt looks to have a little bit more horsepower once again, and Dale Jarrett gets nudged up the racetrack by Greg Sachs. Bobby Labonte's going to take advantage down low in the red and black number 44.
Okay, and you notice there, the two cars were able to push him up the track and go under, but Bobby didn't have enough to go with, so Dale was able to jump back in. We've got a caution. Debris on the racetrack. Everybody will get a chance to catch back up.
And this will solve the problem Steve Byrne referred to earlier. Guys that were close on gas will now have a chance to fill up. There is Greg Sachs. Interesting to watch him driving behind Earnhardt. That is the Monte Carlo. Earnhardt is in the new Chevy Lumina model. It used to be that this was a late model stock car series, but now the Luminas are legal. It's a current model series.
And everybody's wondering about this exotic paint job, and with City written on it, that is the movie car that you will see in the Tom Cruise movie. That's the car that Tom Cruise will be driving.
There is your attrition, Brad Teague, who ignited that huge crash, took out Tommy Houston, Ed Berrier, Jack Ingram, Ron Cooper, Steve Grissom, and a host of others. Ellis Jenkins, Strickland, McLaughlin, Kyle Petty, Michael Waltrip, all involved in that crash, as was Jack Sprague. Darrell Waltrip also in it. Schrader also in it. Jeff Purvis suffered injuries to his race car that eventually knocked him out. Sterling Marlin and Dick Trickle, the most recent to drop out after getting together coming off of turn 4. Now, by passing that lead train, Dale Earnhardt has gotten himself back on the lead lap, so we may not have heard the end of old Dale at this point.
My man Neil Bonnet, he's one of the smartest people in motorsports, and this is usually when he would come up with a real clever statement for me. Help me out, Neil.
I'll step in here, Johnny. 70 laps complete of 120.
He's my man, and you let me down.
I'm trying to talk, and I wasn't hooked up there, but there's nothing clever about the fact that that little black race car just slid back in the lead lap. And on that last caution, it was kind of overlooked, but he got that problem straightened out. They've got the leak stopped, and it looks like he's going to be a factor in this race again.
That's what I always say when I can't think of anything, Neil, is that my microphone wasn't working. You saw Greg Sachs make his stop with his gaily attired crew. Here comes Dale Earnhardt in, and I tell you what, we're going to keep an eye on him. I don't think Earnhardt is out of this by any stretch of the imagination.
I don't want you to ever use that word again here in stock car racing.
I won't. Okay. After the race, you tell me what one it was.
The gaily attired crew. I mean, these guys are tough, buddies. We are going to go for it now.
Dale Earnhardt getting back into it here at the Goody 300. Twice a winner before. He is not about to let go of this one, folks. Your leader remains Dale Jarrett. Bobby Labonte now moves into second. Harry Gant is in third position. There you take a look at Greg Sachs, who will come back into the top 5. But Jarrett remains your leader. We'll be right back. Right they come. Right behind Earnhardt is the number 2 of L.D. Ottinger, a 2-time series champion who'd love to win this race. He's seen some lean years recently. Pit lane for a comment from Steve Burns.
Bob, I'm in Bobby Labonte's pit. His father, Bob, is a crew chief. Bob, do you think there's still a problem with the 3-car?
Well, it seems like he's still pouring little rear end grease out or something. When you run close to him, you get oil all over your windshield.
Is Bobby happy with the way the car is running currently?
Yeah, he said he's a little bit loose, but he's not bad.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah, a little bit loose is the way you want to run at Daytona, the drivers will tell you. Track that's been here since 1959, seen a lot of great races and a lot of racing miles. Down the short chute to the start-finish line they come once again. The bright green and yellow car is Greg Sachs, but he's got a lot of hardware in front of him.
He just led his first lap at Daytona. He just got by him at the start-finish line. Great job for the kid.
Bobby Labonte. And in case you're confused by the lead changes, you are only scored as a lap leader at the start-finish line. You can pass and repass 6 times elsewhere on a racetrack when you want. But the man who is on the point when you cross the start-finish gets credit for leading the whole lap. And many dollars lay within Busch Grand National Racing. There is Ernie Irvan on the outside, underneath the 32 of Dale Jarrett. They're going to go side by side. Here's where we've had all the action this afternoon. Out of turn 3 and on to 4. They're going to go side by side. That's going to make it tough to catch the 2 guys up front. The red number 44 of Bobby Labonte and the 25 of Jimmy Hensley.
Jimmy Hensley's been up there all day also, and these guys are working together, and these are really 2 surprises.
4 wide scramble behind them. At the top of your screen is Ernie Irvan. At the bottom is Dale Jarrett. Behind them, the 46 of Greg Sachs.
Greg Sachs is trying to make the difference up. Earnhardt sets that up, but it's going 3 wide. Here he comes. So if they'll continue to run 2 wide, 3 wide like that, they're going to give a breakaway to the top front 2 cars.
It is Labonte now by about 2 car lengths over Hensley, and then a big gap back to this group. Dale Jarrett ekes out a slight lead over Ernie Irvan as they come down to the stripe again.
It appears to me that everyone's lined up behind Ernie, so try to leave him out here.
We talked to Ernie Irvan, and we asked him, since you're a world-class driver, do you have any advantage because you have more experience with drafting?
We learn a lot more about drafting in the Winston Cup ranks than we do in the Busch ranks. They get 1 race a year to do this, and the Winston Cup guys get 4. So it's naturally you're going to learn more about it, and that's what's going to happen at the end of the race is who can draft the best and stay in the lead and you know, maybe draft that back straightaway and take the lead.
Ernie Irvan from Modesto, California. It's a long haul for this guy. Behind him, one of the cars that suffered damage in the earlier crash. That's L.D. Ottinger's car, missing bodywork in the front left corner. Back up on point. Bobby Labonte leads. I think that's the 63 of Chuck Bound. Nothing at all covering up the engine in front. He was also involved in that big shamazel earlier. Take a look at these aerodynamics, folks.
There's your brick you were talking about. There's just nothing there, but again, it proves how important these points are. Do you see how close those cars went 3 wide?
Woo! Chuck Bound from Portland, Oregon, who has raced from coast to coast, including up in New England. He is going to have a long afternoon here at Daytona. We'll be right back. 80 laps now in the books at the 32nd Goody's 300 at Daytona International Speedway. 40 laps remain of this great 2.5-mile super speedway. Your leader is Bobby Labonte, who may be playing this race just right in his first ever appearance. But behind him, all of those cars are running for position. Jimmy Hensley, Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt with a masterful pit strategy and some good, hard North Carolina country stock car driving has come from a lap down. He runs fourth. Greg Sachs is fifth, followed by Harry Gant, Ernie Irvan, Helton Sawyer, Robert Presley, Joe Nemechek, L.D. Ottinger, Jeff Burton, and Dana Patterson.
That the Dale Jarrett team felt like Daytona owed them one. If you remember last year, Dale Jarrett was real close to winning this race. He had contact coming out of turn 4, lost it right at the end of the race, and I think that's what they're trying to say is, hey, we ran good all last year at this event. They seem to be on the same kind of scale this year.
It is now, once again, a 6-car train up front. Labonte has been hauled in along with Hensley. And it's anybody's race. You've got to wonder about a guy in his first time in a 300-miler on these high banks. With all of that talent and all of those ponies behind him, he's just got to be squeezing the juice out of that steering wheel, I would imagine. Even when your bloodlines do come through the Labonte family.
Well, you can't explain it. Last time he was at Daytona, he was in a go-kart. And now he comes out here running that good. Is he trying to say that it's not this tough to get around this place? This is one of the hardest racetracks in the country to get around at speed. And it just showing the boys got a lot of natural ability and a lot of coordination, a lot of good coaching, and a real good race car and motor program.
6 cars with a shot as the laps run down. 38 laps to go. There is young Bobby Labonte.
He's better looking than Terry, I think.
Jimmy Hensley in the 25 car with a few more miles under his belt. Right behind him, Dale Jarrett. Each of these cars has led at some point today. Dale Earnhardt in the 3-car in 4th position has also led, as has Greg Sachs in 5th and Harry Gant in 6th.
I'd love to ask Neil Bonnet a question, thinking about Bobby Labonte here. Neil, the first time you ever came to Daytona, what did it feel like when you hit this place, and did you lead the race most of the way?
I was very fortunate, just like Bobby Labonte's got Terry working with him. When I came down the first time, I had Bobby Allison working with me, and he said it's simple. You just go out there and hold the throttle wide open, but he didn't tell me about these turns on the end of the straightaway. The racetrack almost defies the fact that you can go around there, and once you master the fact that you can hold it wide open, then you just got about 40 guys you got to deal with beating and banging on all sides of it. And I did take the lead, but I also showed them how to turn the thing around backwards down the back straightaway, so I didn't pay a whole lot of attention the first time.
Well, you've come along pretty good, and I'm proud of you.
Well, Bobby's aiming a little bit straighter than I did the first time.
We've got a pass for the lead as Dale Jarrett in the number 32 Nestle's Crunch Pontiac goes right underneath Bobby Labonte's Oldsmobile. Labonte may have wanted for that to happen. He wanted to follow in this field, and anybody who has seen a slingshot off of turn 4 at Daytona will tell you when you get down to the late laps, you don't want to be on point necessarily.
Well, again, I think it's smart for Bobby to follow because he's trying to experiment with lines. He's never done it before, and he's out there in an educational program. He knew that going in, and I think he's driving a real smart race.
Talk about on-the-job training. Dale Jarrett, hoping to win his second career Busch Grand National race. Dale, along with Tommy Houston, who is now out of this event, one of the drivers who had run every Busch Grand National race since the series was founded in 1982. Dale then got himself a Winston Cup ride and stepped away for a few events. Now he finds him back as a series regular. Back at the Goodies 300 on Prime Network, Bob Varsha, Johnny Hayes, Steve Burns, and Neil Bonnet with you, looking down from on high from the Goodyear blimp. And we thank the good folks at Goodyear for the use of our floating camera platform. There you see it high above Daytona International Speedway. Chamber of Commerce weather here in Daytona. Really a beautiful day, great day for racing, as it has been for the last week. There is your leader. Excuse me, Johnny.
Just look at that shot from the blimp. It really is the only way you can get a camera to get that kind of position. I mean, we're so lucky to have those kind of shots, because it's like looking out of the airplane when you land over there at the airport. We get to watch it consistently, but you can really get a different view of the racetrack and the car. See how they all change grooves there? They dive down to the bottom, go up the banking, just like a train. We're watching the train. See, the one car goes high, come underneath, perfect shot. Thank you, Goodyear.
Built on 450 acres, this huge racetrack. It's hard to believe and hard to express just how far away these race cars get when you consider that they're lapping at about 48 seconds. Your leader, Dale Jarrett, 184.9 miles an hour that last lap.
One of my favorite shots from the blimp was with the lake in the background. Reminds me of the great story with Tom Pistone. The first race he ever ran here, he ran off into the lake. So they pulled him out of the lake and everything. Second race he ever ran at the Daytona 500, he wore a life jacket the entire race. I think that's the only person that's ever worn a life jacket at the Daytona 500 was Tom Pistone. One of the great stories in racing.
That nose guard must have cost more than those sunglasses. Down to the line they come, closing up some. Jarrett, Labonte, Hensley, Dale Earnhardt, Greg Sachs, and Harry Gant. There is the 7 of Handsome Harry, also known as Hard Luck Harry Gant. Found some dry times on the Winston Cup circuit for a number of years, but has done well here in Busch Grand National racing. You mentioned a couple of years ago, Johnny, he won 5 races. We should point out he won 5 of the last 7 races that season. Everybody said, wow, Harry Gant is back. He also picked up a couple of events last year and some poles to go with it.
Harry uses a lot of the Darrell Waltrip driving style, approaches it in a very intelligent way and say, hey, let's save this car to the end. I'll ride back here where it's comfortable. So you never know if Harry's showing you everything he has. He may just be sitting back there drafting. You remember we talked earlier about gas mileage and that sort of thing, and maybe he's using that as a factor.
There you see Harry Gant down across the line, running at the very back of this chain of cars. 6 cars in it. Harry is 6th and content to run at that point. They should be able to go the rest of the way on this load of fuel. Now, in this pack of cars, look for the number 87. We talked about Bobby Labonte being a young guy. The 3rd car in line there is Joe Nemechek from Mulberry, Florida. A year ago, Joe Nemechek went running on the short track All-Pro Series and won it, both Rookie of the Year and the Series Championship. He's out here now in his first Busch Grand National race. He started 38th in this field. He is now running in 8th position. He's done what a young guy should. He's kept his nose clean, stayed out of trouble. His crew chief is Donnie Allison, who knows a thing or two about getting around this racetrack. And Joe Nemechek is doing real well today. In fact, we asked Joe before the race, this is your first time here, what's the scariest thing about driving at Daytona?
I think the worst part is when the car starts bouncing back and forth and you don't know what's going to happen. Just the turbulence of the air starts moving the car around, and coming off a turn 4, you know, the wall's coming up and here you are bouncing around and you don't know what's going to happen. But normally the car just follows right in the same airstream.
Well, I thought he was going to say the toughest part would be having to face Donnie Allison if you didn't do what he told you to do, because he's another hardcore, you do what I tell you to do, or watch out, boy.
11 lead changes among 8 drivers. Keep in mind, we've actually had more lead changes than that, but since you only score the lap leader at the start-finish line, we've only had 11 when they get all the way around. Right now, it is Bobby Labonte back on point. Brother Terry looking on and coaching from on high. Father Bob calling the shots in the pits, wearing the number 44 that took Terry Labonte to the Winston Cup Championship a few years ago.
It's unreal. Terry was real concerned about this race for Bobby not to go out and embarrass himself. It's his first big shot in front of his sponsor. And I'm sure they're sitting there thinking, now is this Fantasy Island, man. Go out here the first time and got a shot at winning. We've run up front all day. No matter what happens now, he's proved to America the boy can drive a race car.
Getting 3 wide now off of 4. This is the battle for second place. You see Dale Earnhardt has come underneath. Earnhardt is on the lead lap. He is in 3rd position. He has now got Dale Jarrett behind him and Greg Sachs behind them. Great racing here at Daytona, and there's a lot of great racing coming your way on Prime Network. Be sure to watch This Week in NASCAR every Thursday night before each NASCAR Winston Cup race. Plus Eli Gold will let you, the caller, talk to your favorite NASCAR personality. Consult your local Prime Network affiliate for exact times and dates This Week in NASCAR in your area. There's a look at Dale Earnhardt, and don't forget, next weekend on Prime Network, we'll be bringing you flag-to-flag coverage of the Richmond 200, the Busch Grand National race from Richmond International Raceway, and that is going to be a very different race, I would guess, Johnny, from what we're seeing here on the Super Speedway.
Oh, I can't wait to get up to Clay Earl's new racetrack. That thing is gorgeous. It's the kind of racetrack where you get head-to-head, and it's a fun racetrack to go to, different attitude.
Paul Sawyer will be glad to hear you say that.
I'm sorry, Paul
Earnhardt
Sawyer.
running alone. Greg Sachs now battling to get around Dale Jarrett. Harry Dean right on Sachs's bumper. I think Harry may have more than he's showing right now, Johnny.
Well, you just never know about him, but I think he was in the draft there. Now they're running side by side. One of them needs to give here, or they're going to lose the draft totally. Maybe Harry should just go ahead and let Dale go and jump back under him unless Dale's got a problem.
There he goes. The number 7 tucks in behind. You bet.
You can't take the chance of losing the draft, or you can get out of this show real quick.
96 laps. We'll have 97 laps complete when we come around. That will leave 23 laps remaining in this 120-lap, 300-mile contest. The winner will take home $34,000.
You know something that you don't notice real quick, Earnhardt is running those lead 2 cars down by himself without the help of an additional car. And as we explained earlier, 2 cars run together much faster than 1, so that shows you how strong Earnhardt is. He's coming now.
Bobby Labonte being left to run alone. Now, once again, Jimmy Hensley tucks up behind. Hensley might have taken a look behind and seen Dale Earnhardt coming and thought, wait a minute, I better get right up here behind Bobby and see if we can put a couple of car lengths on that black number 3. But it isn't going to work. Look at Earnhardt right up. I think he's going to take Hensley on this corner. He's going to come right up underneath him. Nope, tucks behind as they head down toward the tri-oval. Oldsmobile, and Chevrolet in the top 3 positions here in the waning moments of the Goody 300.
Don't you know the Oldsmobile people tickle to death with this kind of performance in this Busch Grand National Series?
We mentioned that it's totally V6 engine. Once upon a time, V6 engines were going to be the toast of the big Winston Cup Series, but it hasn't turned out that way. Busch Grand National Racing is the only place you'll find the fastest V6s in the world. Bobby Labonte is your leader over Jimmy Hensley, Dale Earnhardt, Greg Sachs, and Dale Jarrett. Back at Daytona, while we were away, leader Bobby Labonte and Jimmy Hensley pitted. We have a new leader, and his name is Dale Earnhardt. He has come back from 1 lap down, despite throwing lubricants off of that car and getting a good close look from NASCAR. Even a slipping clutch problem has not kept Dale Earnhardt off the lead. The 2-time winner of the Goodies 300 looks like he wants another one today.
Well, those appear to be routine pit stops. When you run this long, the tires are being used up. They're very hard tires. The racetrack's getting slick, and some of these people come in and take a chance trying to get new tires on it and more gas. So there's going to be some people who roll the dice out here today.
And you've got to wonder about Earnhardt's tires. You see the gap back to Greg Sachs running in the 2nd position. 18 laps remain. Dale Earnhardt has to wonder whether or not Labonte and Hensley, with the new rubber on, are going to be able to catch him and run him down.
Both of those guys are hoping for a caution so the field can get blocked back up. Right now, Earnhardt seems to have a drive away. Now the other 3 cars are starting to hook up in a draft, so we have a three-way draft. Harry Gant's just right behind Dale Jarrett, so maybe they can hook up and run him down. That's their only chance.
There's Greg Sachs in the second position with Dale Jarrett and Harry Gant right on his tail. If those guys can hook up, they might have a shot at running down Earnhardt. But the laps are beginning to run down. Now, Dale Earnhardt, of course, is a three-time Winston Cup champion. He doesn't need to run in the Busch Grand National Series, so we asked him, Dale, why run in the Busch Grand National?
A lot of the races we run through the season, it really helps us for the Sunday's races, the Darlington races, the Bristol race. Daytona's a lot of fun to run. I got some guys that work on the car back home, and you know, they enjoy it. Goodwrench sponsors the car, so we got everything pretty much worked out financially. So it's a fun deal, and I can get a little idea of what the track's going to do for Sunday's race. And they enjoy racing too.
Busch Grand National often runs on Saturday before the Sunday event. Let's get a comment from Neil Bonnet in the pit lane.
Well, he might really enjoy racing today. I just talked to his guys. He went 51 laps on the last tank of fuel. He just had 50 to go this time. That was the reason he was sitting there behind those guys. He closed the gap up. He rode along in third and fourth to make sure he had some mileage, and they don't have any intentions of stopping that little black car.
And I really respect Earnhardt running here for training, but bottom line, last year's winner took home $34,457, and he's not having to race some of the really tough guys. And he owns this team. This is Dale's own team. This is not a Richard Childress team. So, old Dale, you know, another 34 grand in your back pocket wouldn't hurt that bad. We do it because we love it.
Guy makes an estimated $2 million a year racing stock cars.
Don't you love rich people? I mean, they're covered up rich, and they sit there and say, well, I just do it because I love it, and I feel special for this opportunity, and I'm trying to have my car on Sunday. Give me my $34,000. I'll catch you next week. The poor guys are sitting there saying, I hope I can make enough to pay my tire bill.
Which can run you about $6,000, $7,000 a race.
Yeah. So if Dale's needy, he'll take his money and give it to all the poor guys.
There is Greg Sachs. This is the battle for second place. Dale Jarrett behind him. There is the gap up to this guy, number 3. Dale Earnhardt showing the way here in the late laps of the Goody's 300. Let's go back to Neil Bonnet.
Well, I know where Johnny Hayes is coming from. He used to own these race teams, and he always liked for somebody to get out there and do all the work for him, and they gave him half the money. Earnhardt just decided to take it all, and poor old guys like Johnny Hayes, he's just crying the blues now.
Oh, that's ugly. That hurts me that you turned on me, because you are always my man and my hero, and I'm going to talk a little bit later about you.
Thank you very much.
The gap is beginning to close on Dale Earnhardt. It's going to be another great Goody's 300 finish. We'll show you what it looks like when we get back. With 12 laps remaining in the 32nd Goody's 300, we have a new leader. Greg Sachs has taken over from Dale Earnhardt, but it's a long way from being over. Let's take another look at how Greg Sachs pulled this one down. Coming through turns 1 and 2, he pulled up to Earnhardt's bumper, and he never hesitated, Johnny.
Well, it appears that he's by himself, but again, it was the train. 3 cars ran down 1 car, and right behind him was Dale Jarrett and Harry Gant, so we have 4 cars locked up. And I think right to the end, we're going to have this shootout and see who goes with who to win this race, and they may come across 2 side by side with 4 cars to finish this race. So I think we're going to have an exciting shootout.
There has been nothing but great finishes to the Goody's 300 over the year. The last couple of years, last lap shootouts have decided it. Darrell Waltrip won one year, lost one the next year. He won't be a part of this one. Here's our race summary with 109 laps in the book, 13 lead changes among 8 leaders. The average speed well under the record due to 4 cautions, 2 of them. 20 cars knocked out of the race, more than 12 of them in that big crash on lap 14. Here is Earnhardt in the number 3 car, trying to get underneath the 46 of Greg Sachs. Won't do it this time out of the backstretch. Neil, let's put you on the hot seat here. If you are Dale Earnhardt, what's your strategy right now?
Well, he almost has a strategy dictated for him. He might look under him, but I don't think you'll see him try to pass him to just a few laps ago. These guys are really counting it close. They're playing with 1 lap on fuel, so he's going to have to draft, they said, right to the end. So it's going to make him have to do the Daytona slingshot. He can't afford to pull those guys. He doesn't have enough gas.
How about if you're Harry Gant? You're running fourth in this line. What are you going to do?
Well, if I was Harry Gant, I'd be tickled to death because I know Harry Gant's the kind of guy that third or fourth doesn't mean a thing. He's plenty capable of winning the race from where he's at. Any of those four guys have got a shot. All four of them's got a game plan, but somebody's going to make the first move, the big shuffle, and then your game plan's out the window. It'll be just some high-speed chess the last few laps.
Steve Burns, how about you? I'll put you on the point. Suppose you're Greg Saxon. You've got Dale Earnhardt in your mirrors.
I want to bring up a good point. We're standing here in Dale Jarrett's pit. A crewman from Greg Saxon's staff came down here and asked crew chief John Irvin if he could draft with Dale Jarrett. Now, I asked John if Dale can go the whole way, and he said...
We'll take that to mean who knows. Right now, Dale Earnhardt has decided he's not going to wait. He's going to take the lead across the start-finish line from Greg Sachs. That now makes it 112 laps complete, 8 laps to go. Dale Earnhardt leading Greg Sachs. Dale Jarrett is right there, as is Harry Gant.
And I think it's coming to a drafting situation and who makes it all the way on gas. And I hope all of them make it all the way on gas, and if they can go 3 wide and then somebody jump in the grass to beat them. But you can see Earnhardt driving. He looked a little snaky there. Well, he accused Dick Trickle in the newspaper of mirror driving him in one of the races recently. And when you go down to the back straightaway making an S move, I think that's what mirror driving is.
Dale Earnhardt doing everything he can to break that draft behind him. Neil tells us that Dale may be a little bit short on fuel, but he's decided he's going to try to lead this one to the end. He must think he has the horsepower in that Richard Childress engine to do it. Harry Gant laying back in fourth position. Dale Jarrett can't afford to wait too long. There you see Dale Earnhardt's pit. Remember, as John said, this is not a Childress team, but there is an engine out of the Childress shop underneath the hood of that Chevrolet. 7 laps and less to go. There'll be 6 when we get to the start-finish stripe. Earnhardt down to the inside, trying to shake Greg Sachs. Behind Sachs is Jarrett. Behind Jarrett is Harry Gant. It has been a great race. We have had everything you could ask for, including, unfortunately, some enormous crashes. But fortunately, no one has been seriously hurt to the best of our information at this point. Ronald Cooper has got some X-rays to check up on his chin in that early crash on lap 14 that took out more than a dozen cars, and it has come down to this with 6 laps to go. Earnhardt, Sachs, Jarrett, and Gant. There's Dale Earnhardt, no doubt talking with his crew about their fuel situation. Just keeping his foot in it is all he can do right now. Break that draft back to the 46 car, try to keep Greg Sachs off his bumper.
It's really funny watching these cars. Harry Gant will drop way back at times. Won't seem to be getting through and get a shot off the turn. Then he comes right back to the corner. I keep thinking, well, he's faded. He's not going to be able to do it. And then he just runs everybody down. The same thing. And they've got us all guessing. I don't know who's playing games with who, and I think it's like Neil said, any one of these guys can win this race.
You're watching it on Prime Network, and only on Prime Network. Earnhardt with Greg Sachs behind him. Both of them winners on this racetrack. Dale Jarrett has never won here. Harry Gant looking for a Busch Grand National victory on this racetrack. And this is what Dale Earnhardt didn't want. 3 cars right on his bumper. Dale Jarrett takes a look to the inside, then slides back into line. There will be 4 laps remaining when they come to the start-finish line. Now Gant goes up high. He's going to make his move for 3rd place right now and does it easily. Gant demotes Jarrett to 4th. Keep your eye on the green and white number 7 of Harry Gant. His next target will be Greg Sachs in the number 46 Chevrolet. Earnhardt is your leader. 4 laps remaining. Into 1 and 2 they go. Gant rides up a little high. Jarrett pulls to his bumper. Now Gant looks to the inside with Jarrett right behind. Tugs back in the line. Let's see. Harry seems to like this east end of the racetrack. We'll see if number 7 takes on the 46 here. It looks like Jarrett's going to make a move. We want 3rd place back.
It's important that these cars don't get racing side by side, or they'll get out of this event quick, and they'll have 2 cars to settle it. So Harry lets him back in quick because he knows he will lose the draft. But everybody needs to stay in line right down to that last lap or next to last lap.
A year ago, Dale Jarrett got knocked into the wall by Rusty Wallace, and Dale has a problem. He saw the car shimmy.
Yeah, it shimmied real bad, and he slowed. I don't know if he had a tire going down or something happened, but he's dropping
He's
back.
out of it. Dale Jarrett is out of it. Something went wrong with his race car. And now, suddenly, it's a 5-car length gap. Earnhardt down to the grass, trying to shake Greg Sachs. Harry Gant has to get it together right now. It is now a 3-car race, and the 3-car leads. There you see, it looks like he can't steer that thing.
It really can. It's going all over the place on him.
He's got to keep it down, too. He's got cars coming up fast behind him.
But we're getting close to crunch time now, and we're going to find out who's been playing games. But still, I think we have 3 cars in this race.
And we have 2 laps to go. 2 laps remaining. Earnhardt, Sachs, Harry Gant.
I think what Harry Gant's chance is, if Earnhardt and Sachs go side by side, then he can get the swing. Ooh, Sachs went sideways, jumping around there. So they're driving it to the very end. But the chance that Harry has, if they can go side by side, that he could slingshot at the bottom.
80 degrees is about when the oil starts to come up to this racetrack, and Gant takes Sachs quickly for second. Harry Gant struck really quickly.
Well, I think that took Greg's breath. He had to lift to get out of it. The car was just really fishtailing back, and now Harry Gant's here. The crowd is standing up, and it's 2 old great ones, a Bandit and an Ironhead.
White flag, 1 lap remains, and these are the war horses. It is Dale Earnhardt against Harry Gant. Greg Sachs in the 3rd position is not out of it yet. It is hot. The track is slippery. The tires are old. If anybody has good rubber, it's got to be Earnhardt. He stopped most recently. There is his crew.
The other key is who's Sachs going to go with. If these 2 line out, Sachs could determine the winner.
Out to the wall goes Harry Gant. Dale goes out to block. Now Gant dives underneath. He's got to get a running start at him to slingshot past. This is the last turn.
Watch Earnhardt's using the traffic real good. And he's got 2 cars in front of him. Harry and Greg both have to jump under. Ooh, Earnhardt dove to the bottom of the track.
They've got cars in front of them. It's Earnhardt, Gant, and Sachs. Dale Earnhardt opens up a quick car lane, goes low, and takes the checkered flag. Dale Earnhardt wins the Goody 300, coming back from a lap down with a masterful performance and a great job by his pit crew. Harry Gant unofficially 2nd, followed by Greg Sachs. Jimmy Hensley will finish 3rd. Elton Sawyer 4th, followed by young Joe Nemechek, Bobby Labonte, who faded from the lead, Ernie Irvan, Dale Jarrett, and Dana Patton. Harry Gant pulls alongside and waves out the window to Dale Earnhardt. Another vintage performance and the 3rd Goody's 300 victory for Dale Earnhardt. 4 years between each. We'll be back. Once again, aboard the Goodyear blimp, high above Daytona International Speedway, where a crowd in excess of 150,000 diehard stock car fans really saw a beauty. Dale Earnhardt fell behind by a lap at one point when his race car gave out under him, but they kept working on it, and he just kept driving the wheels off that car, got himself back on the lead lap, worked his way to the point with 10 laps remaining, and held it all the way to the finish against a tremendous effort by Harry Gant and Greg Sachs. There you see Dale Earnhardt now down in victory lane. We'll be going to him in just a moment with Neil Bonnet. Johnny Hayes, a spectacular victory. I really thought Harry Gant was going to come back.
Well, I couldn't tell. Dale did a great job there at the end. He's just a magnificent race car driver, and he used up the racetrack. He made the moves. He used traffic. I mean, he's just the man. He's tough to beat in a situation like that. Harry did a great job, and also I think Greg Sachs did an excellent job all day. You know, we look, and Bobby Labonte finished 6th, ran his heart out. Jimmy Hensley finished 4th, ran his heart out. Elton Sawyer had a great day, finished 5th. Dale Jarrett, man, it looked like he had the real shot to win this thing. Was up front all day, had some kind of problem right at the end. So it was a good race. We had a lot of accidents, a lot of trouble there, but we still had a real good event and a good shootout at the end.
Let me tip my hat also to Dale Jarrett, who was in it right to the finish, had the car break with about 4 laps to go, leaving it to the 3 who finished: Dale Earnhardt, Harry Gant, Greg Sachs. Jimmy Hensley 4th, unofficially. Elton Sawyer 5th. Bobby Labonte, who led so much, faded badly in the last 10 laps or so. He'll finish 6th. 1 lap down, Ernie Irvan in 7th. Dale Jarrett 8th. Joe Nemechek 9th. Great run for him in his first superspeedway performance. Dana Patterson Patton from Enfield, New Hampshire, fills out the top 10. It's just the beginning of the climactic part of Speed Weeks. The Daytona 500, of course, coming up tomorrow. Now let's get down to Victory Lane with Neil Bonnet.
Dale, just a typical old day at the racetrack. Get a lap or two behind and make them back up. I tell you, you guys did a good job.
It looks easy on the racetrack, don't it, Neil? That's hard work, though. But, you know, the guys did. We had a rear end line leaking, and we got that fixed and got a lap back. And, you know, was lucky to get it back. I passed Dale Jarrett just as the caution came out. We got a lap back. The guys did a good job. Spinny Clinton and all the boys back at the shop built the engine at Richard's shop. And Tony and Hutch and all the boys built the car. And, you know, everybody did a great job. You know, it just, everybody worked hard. It seemed like it was a long winter getting this car to here, and then it was a long day getting into Victory Lane.
Well, I know a little hard work's never hurt you. Biggest thing I want to know is next hunting and fishing trip, you paying for it after this?
Yeah, I'll pay for the next.
We're going to take it pretty soon. Good job, Dale. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil.
What about tomorrow?
Well, I'm going to tighten my car up a little more, and I think you better, too. That racetrack's greasy as heck.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to see if I can hang on that little black Chevrolet a little bit tomorrow, see if we can have some fun.
Me and you need to. We ain't had no fun in a long time.
Thank you, Dale.
Earlier this week, Dale Earnhardt said, a lot of guys have been taking this cat for granted in the last few races of the 1989 season. I am back, and I'm going after it more aggressive than ever. And he certainly did today, coming from a lap down, taking the lead, and with it a victory to be worth in excess of $34,000 from a record purse of $426,000. The richest race in the Busch Grand National Series for 1990 belongs to Dale Earnhardt. We're going to take a quick time out and return for a further look at post-race activities here at the Goody's 300 from Daytona. Stay with us. Daytona, where Dale Earnhardt is the winner of the 32nd running of the Goody's 300. 43 starters, 24 cars still running at the finish. Steve Burns is standing by now with the runner-up.
Second place man, Harry Gant, was right on Dale Earnhardt's bumper. Harry, describe the last lap for us. Did you have enough to catch him?
Yeah, the last 3 laps is probably the only ones I ran full wide open. You know, the car was pretty loose, and we knew we had to save our fuel. Earnhardt had come in, you know, earlier with the black flag stop, and he had about 10 more laps than the rest of us did on fuel. So I was the only car that had a chance of beating him because if I didn't run out of fuel. But I knew he was not going to run out, so we had to beat him on the track, and the only way I could do it was just sit behind, save all the fuel, and wait till, you know, 2 laps to go and give it a run. And that's what we've done, and, you know, I wasn't able to get around on the backstretch. There's a lot of cars in the way, and coming off of 4, there's a couple lap cars out front that sort of helped him get a pull, so we were pretty equal down through here. I really should have started a little earlier, but then again, maybe I'll run out of gas.
Harry, was it a matter of running out of gas or running out of laps? Could you have caught him in another lap or so once you formulated your strategy?
Oh, yeah, I could have took the lead really at any time, 10, 20 laps to go, but I would have run out of gas. I mean, you know, I couldn't be in the middle, and I was glad to be in front because in the middle, my car was real loose. But out front, I'd been okay probably, but if I'd out front, I was going to run out like, I had to gain 2 laps. It calculated was going to run 2 laps short, and we had 60 laps, 58 laps to run. And I had to hold back and try to accumulate 2 laps by not running the car wide open.
Harry, everybody seems to say that the track is very slippery. Will this hold true tomorrow?
If it's like it was today, I think every car out there was awfully loose there today, this evening late. You know, if it turned around and had a caution and we'd have come in, then we would have run hard the rest of the race and put tires on and got gas. Then we could have, you know, maybe got back in front. Might have helped us better if we would have had a caution and got a new start. But the only way I was going to win was to beat Earnhardt because he was not going to run out of gas. The only way I was going to run second was for me not to run out of gas. So I just had to take it easy until you know, the fuel pressure didn't fluctuate and we had 2 laps to go, and then that's when I ran it.
Harry, thank you very much. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
And a couple of more statistics following the race, running at 2 hours and 31 seconds. The average speed, 149.357 miles an hour for Dale Earnhardt, well under the record of 162 miles an hour set by Darrell Waltrip back in 1978. 4 caution flags. Of course, the one that everyone will remember happened on lap 14. We'll take another look at it. A wreck that took out most of the leading cars in this race, including both of the Waltrip brothers and the 5-time champ Jack Ingram. It took out Kyle Petty and so many others, more than a dozen cars involved. Early on, while the cars were still running too wide through turns 3 and 4, to the left of your screen, Brad Teague gets out of shape while running next to Dale Jarrett. And folks are going to talk for quite a while about what happened afterwards.
You watch how close Darrell Waltrip comes to missing him. Darrell pulls up. When Darrell hits him, it clicks him in the back and shoots him back up the racetrack in front of all the traffic. Otherwise, if it would have cleared to the bottom in the grass, we would have had an accident, but we wouldn't have taken out 13 cars. The racetrack is totally blocked. You can see Michael Waltrip in the number 30 car went airborne to hit again. So you can see they're just crunching each other hard, trying to get out of the way. They're on the brakes. There's just nowhere to go.
You see the 22 car getting front and rear ended. That's Rick Mast. He and Kenny Wallace, last year's Rookie of the Year, got their cars repaired, if that's the right word for it, got all the broken parts torn off, fixed the ones that they needed to run, did go out and run, and finally finished the race. 13 cars out in this wreck. 3 more followed due to damages suffered in the wreck.
You can just see the cars are still coming in. It was awesome. It really, they hit hard.
Don't let the slow motion fool you. All of this took place at about 185 miles an hour, and it became a very different race. Another interesting thing about it were the guys who slipped through. You saw Ernie Irvin get through, and he later contended in this event. You saw Dale Jarrett was in early on. You saw the car of Greg Sachs in there. Waltrip missed him before making contact with Ken Schrader. All of those cars were contenders late in the race. Speaking of Greg Sachs, he's standing by now with Steve Burns.
Greg Sachs is down here, and it's a family affair. His wife and a couple of his sons. Greg, you had a good run today.
Yeah, we sure did. You know, Dale and Harry, the great guys to run against. I thought we had something for him. With 2 to go, I tried to get Dale loose down in 1 and 2, but when he turned loose, I turned sideways. Harry reeled us in. It was just a great run to the finish. Congratulations to those 2 guys.
Greg, you obviously would like to be in a full-time Winston Cup ride, but these days your time has been taken up helping out Tom Cruise in the Days of Thunder movie. What's that experience been like?
Well, it's been a lot of fun, you know, and right now my commitment is to finish that production of Days of Thunder through the middle of April sometime, and it looks like our next Winston Cup effort will be with Rick Hendrick's R&D car at Charlotte Motor Speedway and the Winston.
Tell us a little bit more about the R&D situation, Greg. Is that going to be a sponsored effort?
Well, it's not right now, but I believe you'll see it sponsored in days to come.
Thank you very much, Greg.
Yeah. That movie is quite the subject of speculation here at Daytona. I think the only 2 people who aren't in it thus far are me and Johnny Hayes. Dale Earnhardt, your winner over Harry Gant, Greg Sachs, Jimmy Hensley, and Elton Sawyer. Hensley holds the distinction of being the first Grand National regular to finish, and that's worth a lot of points. We'll be back.